Join me as I highlight small businesses in the craft industry with interviews on-site at distilleries, breweries, and more. This podcast is all about getting to know the people behind the craft, celebrating their hard work, and of course, having a few samples along the way. Welcome to Crafted Conversations. In this episode, I sit down with Dan Morello of 10th Ward Distilling Company in Frederick, Maryland. Dan is one of the main distillers and graciously sat down to talk about his background and the awesome story behind 10th Ward. Proudly woman-owned and operated since 2016 by owner Monica Pearce in what used to be the 10th Ward of downtown Frederick, Maryland, their cocktail bar is a perfect stop when visiting this historic area. Dan invited me to come down and sit in their warehouse and have a conversation about where all the magic happens, and I could not be more grateful. If you enjoyed this episode and others we've done, I'd appreciate a follow and like on social media, and also be sure to follow us on your preferred podcast platform and leave a rating and review. We currently stream on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube, and others. And soon we'll be doing the show in full video format, so stay tuned. All right, let's get to the episode. Cheers. Dan, well, thanks for having me here at the 10th Ward.
Yeah.
It's the first time here, so I appreciate you having me, man.
Oh, thanks for having me on the show.
Of course. So full transparency, I've never tried any of the stuff from 10th Ward. I've heard about it. I've seen it online, and I thought, what better way to start it by coming down here and talking to you, the guy who makes it, or at least helps make it. And so I'm curious, before we start tasting anything, tell me about yourself, how you got into distilling, and then a little bit about 10th Ward.
Okay. I don't know how far I should go back. Well, born, bred, and buttered in the great state of Connecticut. I guess when it comes to the distilling thing, me and a couple friends actually were working on beer for a little while, and it was actually that kind of acted on as the catalyst for me actually finding out I had more of appreciation for spirits. This is 10 years ago, so I just kind of dove into that. I kind of saw at least in our area, the beer market, or I guess I should say the spirits market was much less saturated, and just something I had a greater interest in, and I just kind of dove into it and grabbed, I don't know what we say this now, but grabbed a little still and started practicing, quote unquote. I don't want to incriminate myself here, but but then, worked on that for several years, and I don't have any formal training in this. I've done workshops at some pretty prominent distilleries and stuff like that. But then hooked up with a distillery in Waterbury, Connecticut called Continuum.
Okay.
Founded by Brandon Collins. Awesome guy, super, super smart. Learned a lot from him. Great distiller. And was there for a little while. And then made a jump. Monica found me on LinkedIn and jumped on down here. So I've been here for going on 2.5 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
So you're just self-taught?
Yeah, mostly. I mean, you kind of read all the books, and I've worked with other really good professional distillers before a little bit.
Yeah.
And So, and also I'll say head distiller Brett has passed along a lot of the lessons and programs that he went through getting his degree in it. So
sure,
got to take advantage of that too. And but mostly just a lot of reading and hands-on.
Yeah. Well, hey,
I'm slightly ashamed to say, but
no, that's kind of the neat thing that I'm learning about talking to a lot of craft distillers is that you're learning on the job and you're making mistakes on the job.
Sure.
And it's
plenty. Yes.
Were you a whiskey person prior to this, or did you come to like drinking? And I shouldn't just say whiskey because you do more than just whiskey, but spirits in general.
Yeah. Whiskey did grab me. That was my first love for it all. Whiskey and gin. But big whiskey head myself. So it was whiskey that kind of started the whole craziness. So,
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
I love whiskey.
And have a good time with it.
So what all does 10th Ward make?
So as far as the spirits are concerned, we have as you see here the gin. We have our smoked Genever style gin, or Hennever, the old Dutch style.
Yep.
We have the smoked bourbon. This is our newest spirit, the Maryland rye whiskey. See the absinthe here. And we also do just a white smoked corn whiskey, which is the same distillate as a smoked bourbon, just without barrel time. Yeah.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm. And we also, I should say, we have the bottle club. So every quarter, club members get a specialty bottle that we put together for them. All kinds of different.
Oh, that's neat.
We've done like a barreled gin and agave spirit and all kinds of stuff.
Like a little exclusive.
Yeah, exactly. And we also do seasonal liqueurs.
Nice.
So it's always apple brandy and honey and different infusions.
Delicious.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about 10th Ward. When did 10th Ward start, and what's their history?
Monica Pearce founded 10th Ward 7.5 years ago now.
Okay.
Very small location over on Church Street, I believe. Actually, so well before my time. Like I said, I've been here 2.5 years, but I think it was like 1,200 square feet or something like that. And here we are at 9,000. But her whole approach and the whole motto with 10th Ward is ward off ordinary. Because she sees, even like with spirits now, like the market's getting pretty saturated and very competitive. Not too much, but enough to the point where she wanted to kind of have this like different angle. So
right,
yeah.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that's one thing I've loved asking and learning about from these different craft distillers. That these small little operations. How do you differentiate yourself in a market where craft distilling, craft brewing, everyone's doing it nowadays.
Yeah.
How do you differentiate yourself?
Yeah. Well, I guess to start with the spirits, you're doing spirits you've heard of, but just a different spin on it, like bourbon, but we have a smoked bourbon. You don't see the Hanover style gin very often. We're the only producer of absinthe in the state that we know of. At least we were. And then the canned cocktails have really taken off for us as well. And I think that's it's about the size of it there.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Do you think there's something to be said about, the extra TLC that is in what you're doing? I mean, you're hands-on. You don't have the big, crazy machinery that, the big boys have.
Yeah.
Is there something to be said about that? And a little extra love and care to the quality of the whiskey or the spirit?
Totally. Yeah. Brandon, who I mentioned, my last boss, he made a good point. It's like that's your story, the fact that we touch everything. Yeah. That we make here. And that's part of your story. I mean, and the big guys they make fantastic stuff, but I guess if for a lot of them, if half the job is just pushing a button on an automated system, and it's a great product.
Yeah.
It is. But there's not much of a story there. And we're small and we want all the firepower we can get as far as like marketing ourselves and just having a good story to tell people about where the spirits that they're drinking came from. So.
Well, I've noticed too in the market that people, including myself, not just for spirits, but for a lot of things, I almost prefer to find things that are made locally. Mm-hmm. So if I go to I don't live in Maryland, I live in Virginia, but if I go to the store and I find something that said Virginia made or Maryland, the DMV area,
sure.
Or I'm back home in Milwaukee, something that's Milwaukee made.
Yeah.
I gravitate toward that more often.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's something, the perception is that you're doing everything, everyone's above board, making everything's locally sourced. You're doing things by the book, and it feels better because you're helping the local community.
Yeah.
So is there a little bit of a symbiotic relationship with you and the community as far as farms and grains and all that stuff? Tell me about that.
Absolutely. So actually, as of pretty recently, all of our grains are grown within half hour to the distillery.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So
convenient.
Yeah, cool and convenient. The farmers are the best guys, super smart, giving us really good stuff. Take the rye, for instance. So Maryland, like that's the signature whiskey of Maryland, signature spirit Maryland, is the rye. And the rye grown here is, it's a little softer and sweeter than rye grown elsewhere. That's part of the trademark of a Maryland grown rye. Okay. And so, Amber Fields, our farmer Greg, who grows it out there, it's just, it really, and we do 100% malted rye in the bottle. So, there's just like this sweetness and chocolatey note to it that you just don't really find as often. A little less spicy. Yeah. And those are great too, but that's one part that, like you said, differentiates ourselves a little bit. You get kind of these, it's that rye is a unique expression to that farm because grandfather started it however many years ago. So that's been a lot of fun for us, getting to work with that.
That's cool.
And then like the smoked bourbon, our farmer Lance, he at Gaydon Farms, he smokes the corn himself and mills it and gives it to us. So that's how we get the smoke character on it.
Wow.
And yeah. So that's a lot of fun too, because this is new to me. I've never, gotten to work with those kind of products, know. So it's been really exciting.
I might be jumping the gun because you mentioned it, and he smokes his own corn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious about that process because this is the first smoked bourbon I think I've seen. So tell me about that.
Yeah. I mean, the guy is brilliant. I don't know how he came up with it, but so fortunately, he used to be a metal worker.
Oh.
So he built this apparatus where he has like the corn, it augers it into this little box where he has the smoke filling into it, and then it augers right out and mills it, and it's pretty wild. But he just like built it on like a weekend. So yeah, and it's fantastic. It's great. It's been a really good been really good to us. We've been liking it a lot.
Is he smoking it with wood?
Yeah. It's like American hardwoods.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's I wish we had some, but if you like really like take a handful of the corn, it just has this like sweet, almost like barbecue smoke to it. Yeah.
Speaking my language.
Yeah.
We'll get to it. I want to try it.
Yeah.
The one thing I love learning about and talking to people about is, the freedom you have as a craft distiller. Some of the big shops, and like you said, they make good stuff and they have it down to a science.
Yeah.
But the market has decided that this is what they want, and they want consistency. The one cool thing about this is that every batch that you make, every barrel is going to taste different.
Right.
And talk about, the fun of that, the playground that you have as a distiller, that you can just decide, I'm going to try this. Or,
Right.
I mean, I know you work with a team, so do you have some freedom yourself as Dan, the distiller, that hey, guys, I have this idea. I want to put this in this. Let's try it.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's actually going back to the little bottle club thing. That's where I get to do that the most.
Okay.
So yeah, and like the whole team, we'll all brainstorm together on bottle ideas. But like one thing I've been wanting to do for a while and that we finally got to pull the trigger on is, a lot of the big guys, you'll find them finish a bourbon or one of their whiskeys in like a spent wine cask of some kind.
Right.
And I get to do that now. So we have that going underway, but again, like a little different. So we're actually, I'll tell you after what it is exactly. but it's like a unique grain bill on it, and a wine varietal cask that you don't usually find. I just can't say because we haven't released it yet. But
right.
Yeah. But and that kind of stuff, and just every day we try and tweak a little bit. Like we're. The grain to water ratio, the mash size, to hit a certain level of bricks, to fit in the newer still, to get the most out of the run. I mean, this still, the big one, it's only a year old. So we're still kind of, even though it's been a year, we're still kind of dialing in the mash versus the running on that thing.
Gotcha.
So yeah, and that's keeps it exciting, and and of course, like everything affects the flavor. We just switched to a different yeast, and I mean, night and day on that. Crazy. So
yeah, there's all those little nuances that people who are just general consumers don't know. I mean, I've deep dived because I love it. And you're obviously doing it. But people, go to the store and buy some 10th Ward whiskey. You're not thinking about the yeast or the cooperage that they go to, and all that stuff. That's the fun, the nuance about this that I love. I don't know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's like, because we're so much smaller and like we don't have the kind of volume where we need like a master blender and to keep like, such a very strict kind of uniformity. It is kind of neat to have, different batches with slightly different flavor profiles.
Right.
And also like, depending on, even with whiskey, just like with wine, like you're also at the mercy of the crop all the time,
That's true.
So, and just like the yeast, the water, everything. So, you taste that when there's like extremes that are going on,
Have you had any that surprisingly, like, did you have any surprises that were great or errors that went so wrong that you expected to be good? I love those stories.
Yeah. Let's see. Actually the one that gets, I'll say the absinthe can be really tricky.
Sure.
There's so many botanicals and the way you infuse and everything like that. Like we've had batches where it didn't louche, which is, when you add the water and it gets cloudy, which is sign of good absinthe, which, we'll demonstrate in a little bit.
Yeah.
But, sometimes and it has to do that. We're not setting it out the door unless you have like a proper absinthe louche. Because that's also what we do at our cocktail bar as part of the whole, that's what we're selling to people. That's what they're buying when you get the absinthe. And some of them didn't do that at all. So the whole thing was a bust, and then absinthe's not cheap to make.
No.
So yeah, so that kind and I'll say this: sometimes the gin did lose, which we didn't want.
Right.
So yeah, those kind of things going on. Just because like they're very botanical based spirits, and you have all these oils and everything, and that kind of thing goes on. And then with the whiskeys, thankfully nothing too catastrophic. Really just kind of tweaking it.
Okay.
That kind of stuff. Yeah.
Do you use different stills for your gin and absinthe than your whiskey?
We do right now anyway. So for the whiskeys, we're using we call her Mama Bear. It's the bigger one, the 2,000 liter over there, courtesy of Specific Mechanical. And then we have the smaller one, the 1,000 liter, and we use that for the gin and the absinthe.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I've heard horror stories of some distilleries learning the hard way that if you make gin or anything with botanicals, obviously you're gonna
tricky. Yeah,
you have to have it clean.
yeah, exactly. Like gin's with the absinthe, but gin's funny because obviously the juniper, but depending on your botanical blend, so like you can put botanicals in the pot, or you can have the gin basket, right?
Right.
And we do a mixture of both. But I think it's important to think about. You have botanicals, like the pot's obviously coming to a boil, and some botanicals don't hold up in the boil. Those flavors might diminish or change or get bitter or something like that. That are better suited to go in the basket,
right?
And vice versa,
right?
So that's one thing that we've played around with a little bit too.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What's your favorite? Or I should actually here's a better question.
Yeah.
What's your favorite to make?
Favorite to make. Favorite to make. I think it's a tie between the rye and the bourbon.
Okay.
Well, that's tricky too. Actually, another spirit I forgot to mention, should have mentioned, because unfortunately we don't get to make it as often as we like. We have one called Honey Jack.
Ooh.
So we distill mead. We work with a local meadery called the Orchid Cellar. They're the best. And for those of you who aren't familiar, mead is honey wine.
Yes.
And
it's very good.
Yeah. And so we get 300 gallons of mead once in a while and run that in barrel aged for a year, and that's a blast.
That's good.
Fun. Yeah, it's delicious. Okay, we can give a sample of the barrel after.
Awesome.
But the rye is great too, because not divulging too much about our process. There's something, the single malt rye, because it's 100% malted rye grain, it allows us, it's I guess very forgiving in the mashing process. I guess I'll put it that way.
Sure.
So we don't need as many enzymes or anything like that. So yeah, it's that one's a lot of fun. Love them all, of course.
Yeah.
You know what it is? It's like they're all super fun. It's just like with I guess maybe the absinthe, for example, it can just be a little nerve wracking. Like, there's just less guarantee with it, Well,
you had mentioned so that and the gin with the loosh issues.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do with that after? Does it come home with you guys? Because it's like, well, we can't sell this, or what do you do?
We at our cocktail bar, we use the absinthe and the gin for a lot of the cocktails, which we'll batch in kegs and stuff like that. So even if it's not looshing great, it's still perfectly good to use for like a batch of cocktails or something.
Gotcha. So
Yeah.
you're just missing that presentation.
Certainly,
by itself.
yeah. Might not be good for a bottle, but we can still make great drinks out of it because the flavor is exactly the same.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah.
Here I'm thinking you're just
or
you get free barrels to take home.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice. But yeah.
So I haven't talked much with anyone who's made absinthe.
Mm-hmm.
And how different is absinthe? And I know because the law has recently changed.
Yeah, 2006 it was re-legalized.
With wormwood.
Mm-hmm.
So how does it all work?
Yeah, it's not super complicated, really. It's absinthe includes, or I guess has to include what we call the Holy Trinity: star anise, fennel, and wormwood.
Okay.
And then we, of course, add our own other botanicals to it to kind of put our mark on it. We have like some lemon balm and chrysanthemum, stuff like that. Just really give it this bright floral on top of the, that star anise and the fennel, give it that licorice flavor.
Right.
The wormwood has that signature bitterness, but we distill it from a sugarcane neutral.
Gotcha.
So it has like a nice inherent sweetness to it too to balance everything out.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's fun. It's cool. Because you almost run it like gin, and then when you're done, you do the coloration. So you just infuse more green botanicals directly into the spirit, filter bottle.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
it's neat.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I haven't seen that many people. I mean, I'm not a gin person, and going around to whiskey distilleries, and they also make gins and vodkas.
Yeah.
I've come around to like I hate drinking a pine tree. I hate.
Oh,
that.
certainly. Yeah, ours is we got away from that. The style. Yeah.
I notice a lot of people are doing that.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more approachable to non-gin drinkers.
Yeah.
Especially in a cocktail.
Right.
So I've found, and so there's a couple out there that I've seen, but I think you're the first that I'm actually doing this on the podcast with, that you do an absinthe.
Yeah.
So it's like you get to stretch your wings, and like,
Yeah.
I'm sure your bestseller is probably one of the whiskeys.
Yeah. The gin, actually, surprisingly, the gin and absinthe have been doing great for us. So
That's good.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely I hear you on the gin. Because I'm like that too. Ours actually has our rye whiskey in it.
Oh,
right. Yeah. So it has this malty backbone and everything, and it's not like super pine coney and
that's neat.
gasoline and some of them you might find, but not knocking anybody, but yeah.
When 10th Ward started, did they source anything, or were they just using white spirits to pay their bills?
I think I'd have to ask I think it was just whites at first, and they just start with like a barrel, that kind of thing,
right?
I don't think she was sourcing like anyone else's product,
right?
Yeah,
I know that obviously the big player for sourcing is MGP in Indiana.
Yeah.
And no shame to anyone who does source. It's an investment.
Absolutely.
To age anything.
Absolutely. I'm it's great to get yourself going,
right?
And
I mean, you get to go there and find your own product.
I mean, we source neutral to use as the base for gin and absinthe. So
who cares?
Yeah, who cares? It's good. It's good. They do a great job if that's what you're trying to do.
Right.
So,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let's pour some stuff.
Cool.
What should we start with?
I think. So do you want to do the gin? Or?
Of course.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it.
Twist my arm.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So we're gonna end with the absinthe just because it's so intense.
Yeah,
your
palate breaker.
Yeah, let's start with a little gin here.
I know you're pouring the gin. Do you guys do a vodka?
We do not.
Okay.
No vodka. All right.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Good to have you.
Ooh.
Yeah. And some cardamom and persimmon and chicory, orange peel. Don't do coriander, which is in a lot of like majority of.
I was gonna say that's unique.
Yeah, we some other stuff. We kind of that kind of toastiness we get with the chicory root, which we like a lot. Some elderflower in there too.
That's a very floral gin.
Yeah,
it's very good.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and that juniper and that pine saltiness is definitely the back.
Yeah,
that doesn't bother me.
Mm-hmm. That rye comes through a little bit.
Yeah. That's interesting. You said persimmons too?
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think persimmon with the orange peel. Gets that little nice fruitiness there.
Yeah. Citrusy and floral.
Mm-hmm.
That's a nice gin.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Yeah, it's pretty versatile. I mean, it's a sipper for me personally. All right. A little rye.
Yeah.
I'll go rye and then smoked bourbon.
Okay. Perfect. So I know Maryland is big in rye. That's their spirit, right?
Yep. Yeah. Rye started. Bourbon started here by Basil Hayden.
Yes.
Bourbon. Yep. He was a missionary. He was a rye farmer, and then moved it on down to Kentucky.
Right.
So
interesting.
Yeah. Here we go.
And everyone knows Sagamore.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I met them recently. They're real nice guys.
Yeah. Ooh.
Mm-hmm. So very malty.
Yeah.
Like chocolatey almost.
And this is 100% you said.
100% malted rye.
90 proof.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on the nose. That is the most malty.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. Because with the unmalted, it's where you get a little more of the spicy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Almost like fudgy.
That's dangerous.
Wow. I'll take it as a compliment.
Yeah. Is the farm malting it for you? And
yes.
Then you get it?
Yep.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Does it all. Just drops off. We throw it in the mash tun.
I'm sure there are places that have malting floors. That's a task and a half.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's awesome.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's convenient. Yeah.
I'm wild about that nose.
Mm-hmm.
The flavor and the taste is phenomenal, but the nose
neat,
is just so chocolatey.
There's almost like a pleasant metallic thing to it.
Yeah.
That's okay. There's almost like a cereal-y kind of like.
You know, it's like a bread note.
Yeah, toasty.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Man. And so we're going to the smoked bourbon. And before I sip this one, I do want to ask you.
Yes.
Was this something that was it, how do I want to ask? It's like, it seems so experimental.
Yeah.
Was it like, hey, we're smoking some corn, want to try that? Or was it someone tried it and just decided to say, hey, we should try to make bourbon out of this? Because
I think right out the gate, she just wanted to do a smoked whiskey.
Just came off.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And started doing like the white and then and barreling at the same time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
You just kind of evolved. All right. And are you a Scotch drinker?
I love Scotch.
Okay. Do you like peated?
I love peated.
Okay. So yeah, this definitely we do. It's 80 corn, 20 barley.
Okay.
Ratio. So it definitely has a lot of Scotch. Peated Scotch qualities to it, I think, just given that barley content and the level of smoke. And a little sweet corn bite in there somewhere.
Yeah, that's unique. Whoa. That's a campfire.
Yeah. It's Scotchy. It's smoky.
It's a smoky Scotch minus the peat flavor.
Yeah.
Because peat has a very distinct flavor.
Absolutely.
But this is
with like a little corn hanging out in there.
This is like I'm enjoying a bourbon next to a campfire.
Yeah.
But the campfire's in my mouth.
Right. Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
That's unique.
It's yeah. And yeah, ever since the current farmer has been doing it the way he's been doing it, it definitely, of course, changed the flavor. I mean, it's like different woods and stuff like that, and milling it a little different for us. And it's always evolving, So, but in a way to kind of, in a weird way to keep it consistent.
Yeah.
Like, improve consistent. Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, we have fun with it.
Interesting.
It's surprising how much smoke, it's like still hangs out through the distillation.
Yeah, I've always been impressed at how that science.
Yeah.
I'm not smart enough to know what happens, but it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
How long is this aged? Both the rye and this.
Right now we're hitting about a year on them. Yeah. We've been using which we've been really excited about is started using believe it or not, char 1 barrels. It's the lowest char.
Yes.
But with like a little higher toast on them. So that char, I when I was, pretty new to all this, I always thought that the higher the char, the deeper and richer the flavor. And that's kind of true if you give it enough time. But because, as we roll into the 1.5 and the 2 year and the 4 year, if we're only doing like, 9 months to a year, like we've been doing lately, that char 1 is where it's at. Because, if you're doing the deeper char, you haven't given enough time for that spirit to like permeate where it you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it hasn't permeated deep enough into the barrel anyway.
Right.
To like reach the benefit of that like really deep char and that toast and everything.
Was that a discovery just because you were selling so fast and you wanted to get bottles out there on the shelf, or was it just what the flavor profile that you guys found, or that 10th Ward found?
Actually, Brett had played around with that at the last distillery he was at, and found that they were having a really great result, and they were doing rye too. So and we just kind of like it because even if you're doing longer than that short age, the char 1, it's still good. It's still going to hang and develop that flavor and everything.
Right.
And so we might even we're talking maybe start with char 1 and then move that same into a different one as if we're really going for some like deeper years on it and stuff like that. So and these are the conversations we have about how it evolves with us, because we still have yet to release whiskeys that have aged for multiple years.
I was going to ask. I'm sure there's barrels squirreled away.
Yeah, they're away, and we're not talking to them right now. So yeah. We finally really started just like upping the barrel program.
Okay.
Within the past maybe 6 months or so, 6 months to a year.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Tell me about before we get to non-whiskey things.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that. What are the exclusives like? Are there barrel proofs? Are they're aged in different things? What's the most unique exclusive that you've given out?
You mean like the club stuff? It's a good question. Most unique. Let's see. in my time here, so it's quarterly. We have the can club too, which is monthly. So the bottle being quarterly, which means I've seen about 10 of them. I guess we'll start with my personal favorite was, so I mentioned we do the honey jack, right?
Yeah.
So we aged that honey spirit in a same barrel we do the bourbon. We emptied that, bottled the honey jack, and backfilled it with the gin.
Oh.
So it was like an oaked honey gin. I think that was my favorite.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. We just released a citrus liqueur. That was a lot of fun. We have this unique grain bill that we're gonna age in a Cab Franc barrel from a local producer soon. So I think I'm really looking forward to that one. But I know people have done barrel gins before too, but it was the fact that it was done in that honey jack cask.
Right.
That was my favorite. Yeah.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah. That was my favorite.
Is there anything that you want to do that you haven't been able to yet?
Let me see. I want to barrel age gin in other kinds of casks.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah. Because I like our gin because it has whiskey in it too.
Right.
So it likes the barrel. But it is a gin, so you got to be careful. But
some of the best gin I've had has been like a bourbon barrel aged gin.
Yeah,
that's so good.
It's neat.
It's like candy.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. We're always kicking ideas. That's almost like a daily thing.
Sure.
Really, it's what else are we gonna do? That's outside the box.
Not to get too much in the business side of it, because obviously product is product, but and it's an investment to put something in a barrel and leave it. But do you have a percentage of things where you can say, hey, you know what, we're gonna take this one 53-gallon amount of whiskey or gin and put it in something that's just super experimental? Do you have like a quarterly or a yearly allotment of like, hey, this is our fun stuff? Or do you have to kind of play the game? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. Right now, I guess the fun stuff is the bottle club. I'm sorry if that seems like a cop-out answer,
no.
but that's really what. And also, I guess another fun one we do, we're just messing around with so many products, is we also do an Applejack, which we haven't been able to provide as much as we want. I mean, we've just been caught up with all of these.
Right.
And it's just a fun one to do once in a while. And so McCutcheon's cider right downtown here. So we ferment and distill their cider and barrel age that. So that one's a blast too. It's just barrel aged apple brandy. Like I love doing that kind of stuff. It ferments and distills so well. And and then that's in a bourbon cask too. So like that and the honey jack are a lot of fun. Also one of the club ones I loved. I did an elderflower liqueur that I liked a lot with some rose hips. Yeah,
that sounds good.
That was nice. Yeah, that was good. We'll give you a taste of that one too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Deal.
Yeah.
Have you found anything from doing those experiments that hey, maybe we should make this one of our flagships? Totally.
Actually, that happens a lot more with the cans, to be honest.
Okay.
We like the espresso martini was a 1 month exclusive, and it was so popular. Yeah, we brought back a few of them out there. I like that actually. Like the Queen Bee's Knees too. So it's full timer now.
That's cool.
Yeah. And but as far as the bottles, we're kind of just sticking with the mainstays for right now. The Applejack might have been a monthly. I got to double check with Monica because that was well before my time here. As far as the bottle, it's the tough part too is like getting bottles is hard right now. It really is, and we really are. We're keeping up with wholesale orders and just the whole demand and everything, and it. So right now we're just sticking with these. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're great. So
thank you.
Should we jump to the absinthe, or should we do the ready to drink first?
Let's. Why not? Let's do it.
Okay. Sweet.
Yeah. We're a little bit here. So absinthe, traditionally bottled very high proof. So we bottle at 140, which is pretty high.
Yeah.
So I'll show you the loose now. So about equal parts, and you see, so part of the loose obviously is you have to bring that proof down to a drinkable level, and also you see as you add the water, it turns cloudy.
Oh, wow.
And that's what you want. So all of those oils from the botanicals are bonded with the ethanol.
Sure.
And the water, which alcohol loves water, it's hydrophilic. So and oil is hydrophobic, doesn't like the water. So the water breaks the bond between the oil and the ethanol, and it releases them as a suspension, and that's what you're seeing there.
Gotcha.
And that's where the flavor and the aroma is. And there you go.
Wow.
And personally, like I'm not a big black licorice fan, but I love the absinthe. can't explain it at all. But
Yeah,
I don't know. But cheers.
Cheers.
It's got like, it's got a nice natural sweetness. And if, again, like that black licorice flavor isn't for everybody, but.
Well, I love absinthe.
Okay.
So I,
Beautiful.
yeah, I was in New Orleans earlier this year.
Okay.
I had a great time.
I hear they know their absinthe down there pretty well.
They do. So does my wallet. Oh, that's great.
Thank you. Yeah.
That's it's not pungent in the fact that just black licorice in the mouth, right?
Mhm.
I think that's good. It's very, very floral and botanical.
Yeah.
That in the sweetness.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's also like a different distillation a little bit too. And that's what keeps it exciting too. Like we distill, even though we start with a neutral base, we distill the absinthe way different than the gin.
Right.
Yeah, just because it is different botanicals and they just kind of come out at different in a different distillation process. To get your desired profile.
Right.
We read the absinthe a little longer because. That's where like towards the end is where you really get that like that chrysanthemum and the lemon that we want. If you cut it shorter than normal, then it's not there as much. So,
Right.
Yeah.
Is there any wiggle room with the absinthe that you could do in the back end? Can you age something or cask finish an absinthe? I'm not sure if that's even a thing.
That's never even crossed my mind. I don't know.
Oh, here
we
we go.
Yeah, here we go.
Get a
What
barrel.
have you done? Yeah. That's an interesting thought.
Because I don't know if there's any legal parameters about calling something absinthe other than what's in it.
Yeah.
Because once you put it in something else, can it still be called absinthe?
I believe so.
Yeah. So that'd be interesting.
It's because again, I had never worked with absinthe or, to be honest, even seen it before I started this company. So it's still, I'm still working on getting my arms around it myself. So
yeah.
That's an interesting thought. Yeah, oak and the absinthe. Maybe.
Well,
maybe.
Let me know.
I know what the future holds. Yeah. Oh, certainly.
What a royalty. I'm kidding.
No. Absolutely.
That's very good. And I that change in color, it's a little greenish in the bottle.
Yeah.
And then you pour the water and it becomes this like a cloudy, almost like a neon.
Yeah.
That's super fun.
Mm-hmm. It's cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it like now like the light's refracting different because it's different, just like a different composition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, it makes great cocktails too. We have a lot of fun with it at our cocktail bar downtown. So
cool.
Yeah.
On the way here, I drove past that storefront, and it's is that just a cocktail lounge?
Yep. Cocktail lounge has an event space upstairs. I do a lot of weddings and stuff like that, and we retail our merch and stuff like that.
Of course.
Yeah. Of course, right.
Yeah. That's why you're doing it.
It's silly not to, but yeah. Yeah. Mostly a cocktail lounge. Yep.
So you have ready to drink cans.
Yes, sir.
You have 3 here. Are these all the ones you have, or what are these?
No, we have a couple others. I can grab them if you like. I don't want to get too we're doing time, but yeah. So I guess these are the ones that are most popular.
Okay.
Yeah, the peach clementine lemonade iced tea, which is really like a peachy Arnold Palmer.
Okay.
Espresso martini and cream bee's knees. These. We didn't invent, it's just our take on them.
Yep.
Yeah, you're seeing those out on the market a little bit. So we can start with the peach.
Okay.
This one has been around the longest of the 3. So it's one of the original cans. Started all this during the height of the COVID lockdown.
A joyous time.
The bring bar to you concept. And canned cocktails are blowing up all over the place. Have you seen them? Sure.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Of course, these have their whole different set of challenges.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah.
What are these? 8%?
7.
7%.
Yeah. Or we had 8 on this batch of peach, and those are 7. Yeah.
Okay.
8.
I know. So
7.5, 8. Yeah.
Virginia's got some weird laws that some of the RTDs are, if they're above a certain percentage, they're considered wine.
Right. Yeah. Actually, that's what kind of threw me a little bit because we provide to Virginia, and so we have to do just a separate batch for them.
Really?
Yeah.
So annoying.
Yeah. And it's not the hardest tweak in the world, but then it's a whole other roll of labels you have to order and then all of that, and
Yeah.
It's the whole like allocation thing. But
It's so stupid.
yeah, but yeah, we're grateful for their interest in us. So,
Of course.
Yeah. No, but yeah, it's just a little extra work which we're willing to do. So
Make the sales.
Yeah.
But this is great. This is very refreshing. I could, put that on the rocks and in the summer.
Bring it down to the beach, something like that.
Now, is everything inside here made by you, or how does that work?
Yeah, we make everything. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep. And of course, uses like the bees and the peach uses our gin, and like we run a pretty like blank neutral rum for the espresso martini. Because we want the other flavors to really shine in it. So here's the bees knees.
Okay.
Gin, honey, lemon, ginger, lavender.
Ooh.
Again, I mean, I'm sure you've seen it around somewhere. Like a lot of like nice bars like to do can do a good bees knees cocktail pretty often.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And it's like we're almost always R&Ding these things.
That's part of the fun.
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same gin.
Same gin. Yep.
Wow.
Same gin. Mm-hmm. And I guess let's try a little espresso. Now this is the newest one.
I was going to ask. That's been like the trend.
Yeah. Yeah. These are starting to be all over the place.
Be a basic white girl.
Yeah. Yeah, that's me. There we go. Espresso martini. Yeah. Now that they're all flat. That was from the nitrogen.
Right.
Some people confuse some people. Yeah, so this has a little demerara sugar and black cardamom, vanilla.
Ooh, that's good. I didn't think I was gonna like it because I'm not. I like my coffee in a coffee glass or a mug in the morning, black.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
Maybe some bourbon.
Yeah.
But I've always turned my nose up at like the idea of an espresso martini or a coffee cocktail. Not my thing.
Yeah.
This is pretty good.
Thank you. Yeah. Personally, coffee isn't my favorite flavor in the world.
Right.
I drink it every day, but mostly for the caffeine. But
yeah.
I mean, just we've had a good response. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So are you guys? Where's your distribution for all these things? Where can I find?
We're in so Frederick County, Montgomery County. Still trying to reach out to as much of the state as we can, like Baltimore, DC. We just got with some new distributors and stuff, but well now we're in Virginia. Just broke into Delaware, New Jersey, New York, and Then also we have the store locator,
of course.
So I don't know exactly which stores we're in all the time, but
hey,
we have store locator.
What are their addresses? And
exactly. Description of the owner. We have that. So that's been really helpful, and they'll even tell you like what is in the store. So
that's cool.
Yeah, just go to the website. It's there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked you what's your favorite to make. What's your favorite to drink? What do you go home with?
I think I do. I love our honey jack when we have it probably the most. Most people do. It sells out in a second. Honestly, the gin. It's much of a. I'm a big whiskey head. The whiskey started me on all this, but I just love the gin so much. Yeah.
Well, it's good gin.
Yeah. Thanks.
Interesting.
I mean, I like to always. I do like to fluctuate. Keep the palate in check and all that kind of stuff. So.
Of course.
And it's also like I guess. Just a little bit of my QA, and always making sure it's drinking right.
It sounds like the worst job in the world.
Yeah, I know. Awful.
Is there anything else that we can disclose on the mic that we can look forward to that's coming out, or anything that you're jonesing to? You've got a green light on that you're gonna do down the road. Any crazy things that are coming out from 10th Ward?
Good question. I'll say the one. I'll say the one that I'm really excited about is we did an equal parts rye, oat, and a grain called spelt.
Yes.
Whiskey. Yeah. So equal parts. That's in the barrel right now. Distillation rate grade is like a very like marshmallowy sweet note on it, and that's what we're trying to finish in a Cab Franc barrel.
Oh.
Yeah. So excited about that one.
That sounds really cool.
That's a club one. So if anyone's like shit, you gotta sign up. I'm sorry, but yeah. And let's see, we have working on a pear brandy. With some honey in it. Yeah,
that sounds
it's
good.
Gonna be fun. Yeah.
I appreciate the showcase of these things.
Oh, my pleasure.
Obviously, I'm in it for the whiskeys. I love whiskey.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the learning process of, especially today, I've had gin, and gin's great.
Mhm.
But absinthe, that's unique.
Yeah.
Not everyone's doing that.
Yeah. I think a lot of people still might think it's illegal.
You're probably right.
Yeah. And it's a crazy one. I mean, it's I'll say it's pricey to make.
I'm sure.
It's just a lot of botanicals, a lot of time.
Yeah.
So, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And we're having a good time with it. So.
Well, that's good. I mean, you have probably one of the best jobs in the world, in my opinion. You get to play around with liquor.
Took a while, but yeah. Here, so.
Cool. Well, hey, Dan, I appreciate you having me here.
Oh, man, thanks so much for coming.
I'll be
Great.
back.
Yeah. So good to be here.
I'll be back when when you put absinthe in some cab barrels or something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Definitely stay in touch.
So,
yeah,
of course. Yeah. But it's been a pleasure, man.
Absolutely.
So, cheers.
Pleasure's mine.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd appreciate it if you left us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. The more reviews, the easier we are to find. Also, if you aren't already, be sure to follow us on social media so you never miss any of our updates. Be sure to share this episode with your friends, and always be sure to drink responsibly. There are quite literally thousands of distilleries, so we're just getting started. Stay tuned for more conversations with master distillers, distillery owners, mixologists, and even bar owners, and more. Cheers.